Good afternoon, friends. Okay, so what we are going to do here today is, geography analysis. What can we expect for this year's prelims, right? So, see, these years geography questions are kind of intermixed. It's not purely geographical, right? They get, the questions from environment, static geography, international relations, the places in use, and any latest geo agricultural techniques. So you cannot exactly differentiate, is this a purely geographical, physical geographical question? It's getting mixed up these years. Okay, so how are we going to approach the subject of geography, right? So basic things, you have NCRTs, class notes, mock tests that you give here, and most importantly, PYQs. I'm sure you all are aware of these things. You must be doing this also, right? So what I want to tell you is you must really focus on PYQs, last 2-3 years trends, and if you analyze those questions properly, you will be able to predict what is the questions that is going to be asked this year. All right. So rather than wasting time on things which you guys already know, right? There is no alternative to reading NCRTs, class notes. These are must. And actually, I cannot point out this is you should leave geomorphology, these topics, but that can be asked, right? But so see, one more thing. If you see the trends, world geography, we can divide the entire geography, the static geography, into world geography and Indian geography. But the weightage these years is mostly given to the Indian geography aspects. Okay. World geography, conceptual, like climatology, the questions are very rare, 1 or 2 questions, but it's very important. You cannot leave it. So almost all the static geography contents, you have to read it. There is no escapism for that. All right. So what we will do today is we'll see the past 3 years geography questions. Okay, and let's predict, and I will tell you what are the topics you should be studying from that. Okay, we'll use those questions as the index, and let's try to find out what can be the possible questions which can be asked this year. Okay, so 2022 we got around 11 questions. Okay, now some may say this question is not from geography. Any of these questions may not be from geography, it's from environment. So that's why I told you, like, it's very difficult to differentiate few topics. All right, so let's see the first question. Gandikota Canyon of South India was created by which one of the following rivers? So basically it's from Indian geography and it's asked about rivers. So what are you expected to do, for this year? Read about Kaveri, its tributaries, Manjira, Pennar, Tungabhadra, all the rivers, all the major rivers of India, tributaries, source, where is their source, where is their mouth, any landform. For example, Majuli Island, it's a riverine island formed by what river? That can be a question. Rivers on their course make gorgeous waterfalls, right? For example, they can ask Jog Falls, Shivana Samudram Falls. So all the landforms associated with these rivers, cultural places associated with the rivers. For example, where is Sri Shailam temple? Where is the location of Sri Shailam temple? Shabarimala could be asked. Where is the river? So all these aspects related to rivers comes in priority. Okay. So Pennar is in news also. Some I think Somashilam, the answer is Pennar. And Somashilam Dam, I think, is being constructed on Pennar. And Tungabhadra, you should know where is it, which state, and also the states passing through it. Okay. Hampi, right? The relation between Tungabhadra and all these things. So that was the first question. Second question. So this question was purely static, I will say. Static geography, static Indian geography. Second question, which of the following lakes of West Africa has become completely dry? So this is a world geography, but current affairs. So you must be reading any monthly magazines or yearly compilations. So when you read the magazines of international relations, I'm not talking about geography because there are much less magazines which for geography as a subject. But when you read IR, you will come across places. For example, Russia-Ukraine conflict. You will come across places in Ukraine like Port of Odessa, Luhansk, Donetsk, all these places. So try to figure out where is it. Is there any river flowing through it, right? So basically, this was this lake, and basically they were asking about the lakes of Africa. So it's a current affairs. Okay. So IR plus geography, IR current affairs plus geography can be asked. So what are you supposed to do for this year? You should, this question they had asked about the Africa. So you should know about the lakes and major lakes of Asia. For example, Pangong So, right? Then North America, the Great Lakes. Other lakes of Africa, earlier we had discussed about the Rift Lakes of Africa. Then Caspian Sea, Black Sea, all these lakes, and South America. Make a list of the major lakes and at least know the location. Okay. And also you should know about all these lakes. Okay. Lake Victoria, is there any river? So you should be expecting question on, what is a river? Is there any river near Lake Victoria? What are the countries bordering Lake Victoria? Same with these lakes. You can expect those kind of questions. Third question was a purely IR question. They had asked about the Himalayan ranges. Indian geography. Indian geography question. Purely static. So here they had asked about the major peaks. Nokrek, Nanda Devi, Namcha Barwa. So in and out of, you should be knowing in and out of the whole Himalayan mountain range, the sub-ranges, the peaks, which state it is located, Greater Himalaya, Trans Himalayas, then any glaciers in these Himalayas, in these ranges, the rivers originating from these rivers, from these glaciers, etc. Okay. Are you guys following with me?
Yes.
All right. So again, so since they had asked about the Himalayan ranges, this year we can expect about the plains, the subdivision of plains, right? The terminologies, Babar, Khadar, all those terms. Then also in islands. Basically, any Indian geographical features, physical features can be asked. The channel which is separating the Greater Andaman, Little Andaman, the islands of India, anything. Okay, this is a static question from Indian geography. This is a IR plus geography applied, 11th. The ISIL, Islamic State of Levant. So this was asked. So you must have not read this from a geography perspective, but rather in an IR magazine you would have read it. So whenever you come across any new place in IR magazines, just look into the atlas and make an idea where is the location. Okay. So yeah, you should be knowing. This year they can ask what are the countries, countries in that Levant region. Is this country associated with Levant? Okay. Basically, these are regions where there are so much of conflicts happening. So you should know about African countries also. This they asked about the that side. So this year they can ask about Sudan, South Sudan, um, Ethiopia, all these places where there are clashes happening, and also the major cities. Okay, Boko Haram was asked earlier, so all these things related to these places. Again, another favorite question that gets asked is the border. So they have asked about the bordering countries of Afghanistan. They can ask Shanghai Cooperation Organization countries, then countries of G20, major countries you should know about the bordering countries. And so definitely Ukraine, Ukraine's you should be aware of because the Russia-Ukraine war is happening. And also the bordering countries in seas, lakes. I told you about that Lake Victoria or the rivers which the countries through which the rivers are passing, all these things. Next question was regarding resource geography, monocyte. They asked about monocyte and the Indian perspective related to it. So this year they can ask about, uranium, thorium specifically. So yeah, they asked about monocyte. So you study about the other minerals like iron ore, copper, what else, zinc, all these minerals and their location. So this question is a static world geography question. This they are asking about the solstice, equinox. So other concepts like perigee, apogee, tilt of the earth, basic concepts regarding the seasons, everything you should be knowing. Earlier they had also asked about similar question. This question has a link with the PYQ actually. They had asked about Chaitra one. Try to find out what is the relation between Chaitra one, then and Navruz. Navruz. And what is the relation with the equinox and solstice? All these things are related. One year this question was asked. Okay, so that's why this question got asked because of that PYQ. Then they had asked about the wetlands, basically Ramsar sites, lakes, Ramsar sites. You should know about the wetland conservation rules. Then what is the definition of wetland? Does a paddy field, can it be called as a wetland? What are the exemptions from the definition of wetland? These rules are framed under which act? Environment Protection Act. So these things can be asked. And this year they can ask about any rivers. Hokera wetland. Is there any other wetland from Punjab? Is there any river flowing to it? Okay, any kind of questions. So lakes are also favorite. Next was a tricky question last year. So basically here they asked about the crop. Which among the following are the tea producing states? So this was a tricky question, but what you can expect this year is any crop and they can give you many states. So you better study about the major crops like rice, wheat, all the kharif and rabi crops at least. Study what are their climatic requirements, precipitation, temperature, what type of soil do they need, where is it produced the largest, etc. Again, rivers. So among Indian geography, rivers is one thing which you cannot avoid. So these things, Ghattaprabha River, Gandhi Sagar, it's a dam. They have mixed up river, dam, Indira Sagar Reservoir again, Maitan Dam. So major rivers and their dams and any power projects, anything associated with that. This is a purely world geography static question. They have asked about the high clouds and low clouds. And you could find this, why this question was asked was because of the question stratospheric cloud thinning technique question. Because stratospheric cloud thinning, that cloud is cirrus cloud, which is a high cloud. So by that logic, if you had studied that question from that PYQ, you would have got this question as an answer. So definitely what you need to be knowing about is what is the positive feedback mechanism and what is the negative feedback mechanism to the global warming. What is bungee layer? What is volcanic window? Role of aerosols. Role of aerosols in stratosphere. Then difference between various clouds. Cumulus, cirrus, all these things. So basically about the cloud aspect and the global warming concepts related to it. So that was a purely world geography static question. So again, next question was international relations, I would say, and the geography related to it. So the world countries and the places. So if somebody had referred PYQ, Catalonia was asked earlier, and you know it's not in Italy, it's in Spain. That means these two are anyway wrong. So if you know Anatolia is in Turkey and Amara is in Ethiopia, you would have got the answer. So basically next year, this year they can ask with any of these in the options. So whatever UPSC had asked, the places that had been asked in 2011 to 2022, be sure about it. So that was 2022 questions. So you should always use these questions as the index. And this year also you can expect these kind of questions, world major places and the countries associated. Okay. So the year before we got around 8 questions. Again, if you see the trend, it was reverse Indian geography. So you can see again the focus is on Indian geography rather than the theoretical aspects. But yes, there is focus. 1 or 2 questions get asked. So I cannot tell you that you can skip it and study just Indian geography. But like the high cloud, low cloud, I mean climatology questions, they can be asked. So have read out. Please do read about those topics also. So this question was regarding the Indus River system. Now they can ask this year about Kishan Ganga project. They can ask about the Indus Water Treaty. Then Rattle dams on any of these rivers, and connect these with the cultural aspects. For example, the Kartarpur corridor, which river associated with which river? The Kartarpur, the Gurudwara, and IVC sites. Harappa, or is there any Harappa site near it? All these questions. So they can club ancient history or the cultural aspect with the Indian geography thing. Again, lakes. 2022, the question came from the world perspective, world lakes. Here, 2021, the question was from the Indian lakes. These are the saline lakes of Rajasthan, Didwana. So ideally what you are supposed to do is study all the major glaciers, major mangrove areas, major Ramsar sites, because any of these can be the question this year. Okay. Again, rivers. So rivers, if you are able to study in and out, if you put effort on doing that, it will not go in waste. So do put a good effort, and you should also know as I mentioned, the source and the mouth specifically, and also if it's a tributary or not. So these are those rivers which everyone neglects: Nagavalli, Subarnarega, Vamshadhara, Brahmani also. But if you see the Indian atlas, right, the Indian physical atlas, you will see these rivers marked because these are important. So have a look at all the west flowing and the east flowing rivers, okay, and also study the north south order. Next year they may ask arrange these rivers in the order north to south, like they ask cities from north to south. Again, crop question. So the crop and the climatic conditions, water, or what are the requirements for these crops. So the question was about which is the least water efficient crop. The answer was sugarcane. So this year they can ask about sugarcane price control order. Is it covered under MSP? What are the major producing states? Then what is it? Why the southern states has a much yield in sugarcane compared to the northern states? So in and out of sugarcane, every aspects. Okay. Then what about the sugarcane export? Is India is the largest sugarcane exporter, or do we produce the largest? What is our compared to Brazil? What's our stand? That things. Sunflower, they can ask which of the following is covered under MSP. Then they can ask sunflower seeds. They can ask about sunflower oil seed. What is the things related to that. Millets are in use, definitely very important. Kharif or Rabi, and you have to study about Java, Bajra, and Ragi, all, and the major states producing them, as well as climatic requirements. And do we export? Do we import it? All those things. Red gram, you should know which is the largest producing state. What are the climatic conditions required? All right. So what I'm trying to say is, you should take PYQ, use them as the index, and try all the four options. From the four options, you study at 360, 360 degree. You study on each of that options, and that will help you in eliminating further questions next year. So again, this is a conceptual question they asked. In the tropical zone, why the western sections of the oceans are warmer than the eastern sections? They are saying it's due to the trade winds. Yes, it's true, because of the trade winds in the equator, the western sections of the oceans are warmer. Similarly, so this is a oceanography question. Oceanography, climatology, you can also answer this with the current knowledge, ocean current knowledge, right? Second statement, in the temperate zone, westerlies make the eastern sections of oceans warmer. Yes, you can also link it with the warm currents. The warm currents which flow from west to east. For example, the North Atlantic drift. That is also not just the westerlies, but it can also be due to the warm currents, ocean currents also. So this year they can interchange the concepts and ask. And also they can ask any currents, are they warm current or cold current? Now the question from the, this is an environment geography mixed question. You cannot differentiate properly, but basically all the biomes, coniferous, tropical, forest. What is the difference between deciduous and tropical? What are the trees in these forests? Then yeah, and what are the peculiarities? For example, they have asked about epiphytes, I think. No, they're talking about the leaf litter decomposition in this biome. They can ask about the soil, podzol. Podzol is found where? What is the kind of soils? Is it acidic in temperate zones? Why the tropical forest soil are less fertile? Those aspects. Desilication. These biogeographical concepts. So anything related to mangrove forest you can expect, right? Then they had asked about the water. The statement was amount of water in the rivers and lakes is more than the amount of groundwater. So this is again a straight PYQ. They had asked about the amount of water in various, oceans, groundwater, river surface water, and what is the proportion, what is the ratio. You should be aware of these concepts. This is the second time the same question was asked. Okay, so you can expect this to be repeated. They will give you the statement, in atmosphere has more amount of water than groundwater. Is it true or false? So analyze that water aspect properly. Again, crop. Sorry, this is regarding the Indian soil, black cotton soil. So they asked about the black cotton soil, right? But in the options you can see granite and schist. So shale, what is a shale gas? Limestone. So you can expect questions from shale gas. Major places of India from where shale gas is extracted. schist. You can get the questions, um, any temple they will, for example, when you study the Hoysala's temple, we study about the mm, Hoysaleshwara temple. Hoysaleshwara temple is made of, what kind of material? They will give you the option granite, schist. So you should be aware of these things. Okay, mix it with the cultural aspect also. So the same year there were two questions, where they asked one crop will be mentioned and they give you, is it endemic to a place? Okay, one statement was tamarind is endemic to South Asia, but it's not. It's to Africa. This was one question. And second is palm oil is native to Southeast Asia again. So in both the question that statement was wrong. So when you see this native thing later, whenever the UPSC have a statement is native to, just have a thought process. Mostly it's, I think UPSC want us to eliminate that. But I'm not telling this 100%, but use your logic and apply that. So also frame, your you should be you should have a framed approach. Like if these kind of questions, for example, if A is true but B is something, these kind of statements, whereas this, for instead of but it could be whereas. So these kind of statements mostly wrong. Okay, mostly wrong. So then any specific number, for example, there was this question on mean ocean temperature something. They mentioned, they had given a number 129 meter, and they specifically given any numbers, 129. That statement is also mostly wrong. Okay, but you can only use this thing when you have a good understanding of many PYQ questions. Okay, you have to do many questions, then only you can apply, you'll get to know where can I apply this logic, where I cannot. Okay. So this question, for example, this question they asked about the biodiesel. So this year they can ask about the bioethanol, right? What is that? Stage one. There are four classes of biofuels, right? What is the difference between that? All those things. And also palm, we are planning to, in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, we are planning to expand the palm production. So question regarding that can be expected. All right. So if we see the 2020 here, they had asked about which are the major minerals, because just 2 years before they asked about which are the minor minerals. Is sand a minor mineral? That was the question. Okay. I hope you guys have seen the question. Those who have studied that question would have read about MMDR Act. So read about this act. This is important for this year also. Mines and Minerals Development Regulation Act something. So that has scheduled minerals, minor minerals, all these things. This acts tell us now who can this year. See, this question was in India, which of the above are officially designated as major minerals. So this year they may ask who designates major minerals. Is it union government or the state government? Okay, so go through the MMDR Act, read about it, all the minerals. Okay. Or they may ask, does Gram Sabha, if you need to extract minor mineral, you need the approval of Gram Sabha. Okay, all these, just go through the provisions of PESA Act, MMDR Act, etc. Next question was again Indian geography. This was the time, that Jammu Kashmir, everything was in news. Siachen Glacier, they asked. East of Aksai Chin, east of Leh, north of Gilgit, Nubra Valley. So now you should be knowing about Nubra Valley, Nubra River. What are the tributaries of Nubra? Does it join in this river? Where does it join? Does it join in Jammu Kashmir or in Ladakh? Where is Gilgit? Well, what is the relation of what is Gilgit and Baltistan? Their geographical location that can be asked. Major things in Leh. They can ask about the tribals, Dardarians of Jammu Kashmir, Ladakh. and other glaciers. For example, they asked Siachen. This question was because 2018 they asked 2018 I think they asked questions on. They gave that Semu Glacier and match the following. Basically, the rivers and the glaciers. So glaciers very important. Climatology, the questions are very basic. Okay, you need very conceptual understanding. So this question was regarding the concepts of jet stream, cyclones, eye, and the temperature inside the eye. So jet streams not just occurs in the northern hemisphere but in the southern hemisphere also. And so only some cyclones develop an eye. That's true. Only tropical cyclones has eye, not in the temperate cyclones. So the difference between tropical and temperate cyclones, you should be knowing everything properly. The temperature inside the eye of the cyclone is nearly 10 degrees Celsius lesser. But the subsiding air and it's more warmer. So the concepts, the proper concepts, theoretical concepts should be very thorough. Again, crops. They had asked about the pulse production. Black gram. We saw red gram, right? Black gram was here. I think red gram we saw in 2021. 2020 we saw black gram. So that means grams. You know about them, right? Can be cultivated as both Kharif and Rabi crop. Okay. Now you should know what are Kharif and Rabi crops. Again, green gram. So definitely that person who was putting the question paper would have referred these PYQ, and would have framed questions, indexed the PYQ and framed a new question. So you should always be thorough with these questions, okay, PYQs. And yeah, and what are the trends of Kharif and Rabi production. One year they asked among Kharif, rice is the largest cultivated. So I'll tell you a few things. Find out if rice is the mostly cultivated crop in India, in the amounts of quantity, also the area. Okay. Then another statement was in India sugarcane is produced more than cotton, something like that. So basically the production of Kharif crops and Rabi crops. Okay. Again, crop question. They had asked about a crop which is subtropical in nature, 210 frost-free days. See the climatic conditions they will give you, and which is that suitable crop. So they had asked cotton, jute, sugarcane. See, sugarcane was given in the option, and that year, they asked which is the least water efficient crop, and sugarcane was the answer. So tea again, tea. This was asked 2 years down the line, right? Which are the following are the major tea producing states, and they give Kerala, Andhra Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh, see, is given as a wrong. I mean, according to Tea Board of India. Tea Board of India said Andhra Pradesh is not a largest producer. Okay, so you can expect Tea Board of India question. Okay, like I told you, the sugarcane price control order. You can expect Tea Board of India under which ministry? Is it under Minister of Commerce? Okay, all those things you should be expecting. Cotton. So there is something called Cotton Corporation, right? Jute Council of India, mandatory jute, usage of mandatory jute bags. Is jute under MSP? All those aspects. Again, a world geography. They asked about the world lake. This time they asked about the world rivers, right? So Mekong was asked in PYQs many times. Volga was also asked many times. Zambezi. So African river. African rivers, where is their mouth? Is it to Atlantic or is it to Indian Ocean? Okay. The major seas of all the major continents, major rivers of all the major continents can be asked. Okay. And also Zambezi, this year they may ask Zambezi river, what are the bordering countries? It flows through only Ethiopia, or they give such statements. Mekong, it flows to the South China Sea, East China Sea. Okay, all these things. This is an environment, I would say environment geography mixed question. They asked about the national parks in the Kaveri basin, but again river, right? So when you study river, you study about the national parks, protected sites, cultural sites, etc. So Pabikonda, and also develop logics for elimination. Okay. So that's about it. So my whole idea, what I was trying to share is focus on PYQs. Use the questions as index for your preparation. Okay, each of the option can be asked this year. Okay, any doubts? Any further doubts? And please read the static content, all the class notes you have, geomorphology, climatology. Only if you have that static knowledge, you can apply the things. Okay. Any doubts, students? All right. So we'll end. Okay. Thank you.
Amrita IAS Academy.